So this weekend is our last leadership training, and I'm prepping for my talk. It's going to involve some of Einstein, and it's going to be about energy, vibration, and frequency. I did some research on Einstein, and the more I dug, the more I was surprised about like how secretive this cat was. Children didn't like him very much. I applied like a character analysis to him, so I saw him as like the schizoid, rigid slash communicator. He seemed more communicator to me, with a bit more rigid. The communicator and oral. So the oral being someone that was the mother didn't really take care of them, or maybe have been nutritionally deficient. So Einstein's got like this head forward, hunched kind of back. When he was quite younger, he still had this kind of this leaning forward, which a lot of the oral, the character style is, and he's got the schizoid as well. So behaviorally and a lot of his upper body much better built than the lower half of the body, quite intelligent, to think in pictures and in diagrams. He did not like doing hard math. He avoided it if he could. Rigid. So the rigid aspect of him was he didn't want to open his heart to people. So he had a broken heart when he was really young, probably by his father or his mother. His father wasn't emotionally there for him, and in turn, he wasn't there for his kids. He had two sons and an illegitimate daughter, and that really threw me. Like, he kept his daughter a secret. She apparently died of scarlet fever at some point in her life, but his two sons didn't like him. He was emotionally distant and wanted to talk to them about anything. And when they chose careers that were opposite to what he was doing, he was really upset with them, and he judged them, was really critical. So just perpetuating that family pattern. I found it quite challenging to finish. There was times when it was two of his theories where people started to like look at his theories and go, well, maybe I could complete this. Or they told Einstein that this is how I could think you could complete it, and then he would like put his head down and his bum up and would start like doing all the hard math to finish it. So he was also a kind of guy that would never ask for help. He seems the kind of guy that would always like either act like he knew it all and always wanted the credit and the status of being like continuously wanting hunger, like always wanting to be fed from fame or attention or whatever it was, which is typical of oral, where they can never feel full up. They just never feel completely full, so they can be quite needy. I also read that he was quite the misogynist and controlling of his partner. He wrote a list of stuff for her to do, like if he wants to be left alone, he has to leave her alone, like make sure the laundry's done, like very detached type behavior, and publicly refusing to accept that they were in a relationship, like almost disavowing that their relationship in public, so he could have mistresses and have affairs with multiple women. So the rigid side of him, where like he would be having heartless sex, like it was just purely like just the act of having sex, of avoiding whatever feelings, which is well I've been, and I feel like that's why I resonate. I resonate on a few levels with Einstein, like getting like really intellectual and like splitting off, even like during sex, where I'll split off and go completely into my head and like just gone, not remain present, and at work when I'm thinking about things, like not be present to people that are coming over, which I think I could manage if I maintain doing all my grounding exercises and keep that vitality flowing through my body. I feel like when he didn't want to ask for help, but that's me to a T. Like I'll always try and do things by myself because I'd be afraid of sharing credit, or that someone was going to betray me, or like that heartbroken type. Like I'd pull someone on board and then I'd be heartbroken, they wouldn't want to share whatever that was with me. So it turns me into a miser. And I think Einstein was quite the miser as well, and incredibly afraid. when he wrote the letter to Roosevelt to warn him about the Germans and potential atomic energy, that they could potentially make the atomic bomb, it was out of fear. Doing that out of fear had a cascading effect throughout history. Like, he was in a very powerful position. It spurred the nuclear arms race and a whole bunch of other things. And Einstein regrets writing that letter out of, but just those moments in time where, like, you do something out of fear, and like the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Cold War, nuclear arms race, like all that stuff spawned because Einstein was terrified of the fear of the atomic warfare. And who knows, maybe it may have never changed, but just thinking about when you operate out of fear, and if you're in a position of power, just how much you can have those life-changing effects on generations and countries. So I feel like it's really important to be able to own your fear and not project it. I don't know what state he says he was afraid, but you don't really know what state he was when he was writing the letter. So you can add in all kinds of stuff in there to try and push that fear onto the other person without having it weighed and measured and balanced in like a discourse around making sure that both sides of the arguments are heard. I also feel like a lot of other fathers are like Einstein, where they get stuck into work, not interested in talking about kids. They don't have the emotional landscape to be able to address emotions in general. So I feel like that's something that I would like to address going forward for mankind, is healing that masculine side of things. The darker your story, the more energy is needed to escape it. So Einstein had this redshift concept, gravitational redshift, where like when light is trying to escape gravity. And I see that as like the denser you are in your shit and how much you want to hang on to your shit, the harder it is you need to, the more energy that you need to escape it. But once you get over that hump, it gets much easier. So to be able to like stop and look at that black hole, the dense muck of your behavior or your personality going forward, it makes it much easier for you to change and keep on changing. So once you stop that momentum, the path of least resistance, that nature will always drag you back. So you've got to keep the momentum up. And that's where I am. I think I feel like I can do that too. Like when I start with something, and then if I don't keep that momentum going, straight back down. So that's the standouts for me for Einstein. And for the talk, like I think I'll go into talking about his human design, and then like wanting to try and keep the family together. I think his kids would have wanted to try and keep the family together, and just the isolation, but then also the isolation from Einstein, where he didn't have these kind of tools. Like, he spoke to Carl Jung, and he inspired Carl Jung in his theories around synchronicity. Very talented man, no disputing, but his inability to stay grounded and present in his life, I think on his deathbed he could have had a lot of regrets around not being there for his family. But I want to be able to have real relationships with people where I can just be myself. What I love about Einstein was that he was himself everywhere. He didn't change for anyone, and he would do uni courses, not do exams he didn't want to do, didn't do things he wanted to do. He would apply for jobs for people that he may have just written a really horrible letter to. Didn't care. He was just himself, and I love that. I love that ability just to be unapologetically himself, and I want that for myself, because I've always tried to fit a mold of what I think should be perfect, or how I think I need to be in order to get love, and I don't want that. I don't want that anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm done. It's not me. It's a mask. I freaking hate it. And I'm sure there's a lot of men out there that have done this their entire life. They don't know what real love feels like, and they're carrying around this fucking secret of who they really are. and it tears me up inside. So, and find a loving partner that's going to love me for who I am and doesn't want to try and change me, but will give me feedback when it's the most appropriate. I feel like, in finding this, allowing myself to not require that I need to help somebody else in order to feel needed. And I think I am lovable, and I am intelligent, and I have wisdom, and I'm strong, and I'm a great cook, I'm good looking, I'm sexy, I enjoy having sex, and I enjoy being affectionate, charming, thoughtful. I can be very present. I can see things that other people don't see. I have lots of gifts to give people, and I think I should be able to share those with a partner that is going to love me unconditionally. And I think doing more of this emotional work, I'm pulling all of that stuff out, the neediness, the shadow, and the boundaries, which I didn't have before, which I feel like I do have now. And I'm looking forward to doing more work. This weekend is going to be big, I think. I'm hungry for more tools. I'm hungry for content. I'm hungry to keep pushing through all of my emotional baggage. So that's it from me. Do another one again on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to do each day debrief if I'm up to it. I was feeling low before, but now I've done this talk, I feel really high. It's really important for me to talk. I feel like when I don't talk, I start to retreat. So that's a good topic for another video, I think. Anyway, take it easy. Peace.